Hello and welcome to this very special edition of the WrestleTalk Podcast. Now, usually at this point, I would introduce myself as Luke Owen, D.A.D., but given our guest today, that feels hugely inappropriate given their history. So instead, I would just say, I am Luke Owen, and I am joined by a very, very special guest today. Thank you so much for joining us, Thunder Rosa.
Hello, everybody. Hello. I'm glad you didn't do that because it's so interesting. Somebody asked me to do a podcast, and I went on their on their Instagram, and there was like a picture with him wearing a DMD t-shirt with his friend. I was like, I don't think you're gonna get an interview, boo. Like, that's it. That's my answer.
Okay, so I mean, a lot of people will know you here being, from All Elite Wrestling, but a lot of people will also know you from as the owner of Mission Pro Wrestling, and you'll be hosting Bangers Only at the GCW Collective on April 2nd in Dallas, Texas. So let's kick off with that. For those who may not know, tell us a little bit about Mission Pro.
Mission Pro Wrestling is a all female run promotion. We are working our best and doing our best to try to bring all women from all different places that can work production, the ring crew, refereeing, all our females. We have only one male match. That's our exhibition match, right? So we want to really treat it as how the wrestling business had treated us for a long time. So we're trying to spin it a little bit, and we are trying to do something different. I want to say, we're not the only ones who have tried to do this. There's some places in Japan that women have a lot to say. Like Miko Satomura has her own. Emi Sakura has, Choco Pro. But this is different here in America. I think it's like the first time that a group of women has attempted to do something like this. So we've been running since September of 2020, which is like when the pandemic started. And it has become a huge community, and it has become a place in where people feel comfortable to bring their kids and to show them what female professional wrestling is all about. So I love seeing families with their daughters, the daughters dressing up like the wrestlers, the women that come to the show. It's like in their mid-30s, mid-age women. They come and they're like, I never seen wrestling, and they get hooked. So it's something completely different. They feel comfortable, and we want to make sure that when people come to our show, they feel comfortable and they feel appreciated, and they feel like they can be fans. Because some people have like a negative connotation when you're a wrestling fan, right? Because they're always like, oh, wrestling is fake. But when they come, they feel so empowered. So I think we're doing something really good. But and now in the collective, we are the only female promotion running during the WrestleCon time. That unfortunately, Shimmer is no longer running. And Shine, I haven't heard anything about Shine. So I think we are the only one run by women who are going to be at the collective, which is historical, honestly.
You put out a tweet yesterday that really caught my eye when you were talking about Mission Pro. I think it might have been in response to a tweet that Baker made, but it was like it's what I loved about it was the passion that you wrote it in. I've got it here, which is we build this place brick by brick. This place we're allowed to be ourselves. We are caring, and we are working to make wrestling a better place for women. Sponsors, community, my family have invested in all these women. Don't disrespect my tribe. It is. And I was reading a couple of interviews with you as well, just talking about Mission Pro, and it is so. And it's so cool, and it's so great to hear you talk how passionately you talk about this project.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why we created Mission Pro is we wanted to create a place in where the women, new generation of women, come and feel comfortable, that they feel safe. I feel like a lot of the times they don't feel safe because we're working with a lot of men. There's not a space for them to change. We're kind of like the afterthought all the time. We have an 8-minute match. We're like the popcorn quote unquote match. So I got kind of sick and tired of that. And two, as a women of color and as a not traditional wrestler, I was always told no, or I was never given a platform and an opportunity, right? And for me, creating this and bringing people that they're not necessarily the most popular or like the ones that everyone wants, but we make them and we nurture them, and we make them believe that on themselves, that they can make this and they can do something and they can live off professional wrestling, and it is okay to come from different backgrounds. It is okay to, I don't know, like we had a couple ones that have been strippers, and we have a couple ones that have been their mothers. We have others that are, in like working as I don't know, in offices. And we never shame them for where they come from, because we all have something in common. The common thing is we all want to be professional wrestlers. We all love wrestling, and this is what our passion really is. So I don't want to feel like when they come that they feel judged. And like I said, a lot of the times when they go to a regular promotion, they're like, oh, that girl's a hooker, or like the girl this. There's always a connotation to it, and I don't want that. I want people to see them as women with all the flaws and all the strengths. And I think it's important that we educate our fans that it is okay to be a woman. It is okay to be sexy. It is okay to be smart. It is okay to work in a corporation. That all of us, that makes us who we are, you know? So,
Mm-hmm.
and like I said, like every single woman that has come to our show and has worked with us, they have felt that way.
You've got a stacked card already planned for Bangers Only. The Hex are going to be making their debut, I believe, in a 6-woman tag with the Renegade Twins. You've got Masha Slamovich against Lindsay Snow. So tell us a little bit about what we can expect from Bangers Only.
Well, we take pride on every show that we have had. We try to have bangers only. So Holly, who's our champion right now, she always uses bangers only, bangers only. It's like, what are we going to name the show? Bangers only. I think we're going to have a really fun show, and all the girls are going to put their 120,000% on having some of the best matches during that week, because a lot of them are working other shows, but this shows we have a lot to show to the world, because this is the first time we have a humongous opportunity to show everyone why Mission Pro is a place where some of the best wrestling matches are happening. And it's not like just like once in a while. It's like every show things are getting better and better and better. So I'm wrestling with somebody, we haven't announced it yet, that I haven't wrestled ever, so I'm really excited about that. La Rosa Negra is wrestling Jody Thread, who I love. She's a great talent. And then the Hex, Allison Kay and I, we have a lot of history, and she's wonderful. And they're doing amazing things all over the world now. They just won another championship, and I think you can remind me. In London, it was in London. So they're like double champions.
I remember the Progress one.
Yes. So we're super excited. And the fact that the Renegade Twins can work somebody like them in the ring, it means a lot. The Renegade Twins they're my daughters. They call me my mother. They're staying right now in San Antonio. My husband has taken under the wing, so he's like a dad. He takes them all over to get training because we want them to be successful. These kids have so much talent. It's incredible, but somebody has to invest the time and have to believe in them. So them having this opportunity to work with veterans that can teach them the right way, I think they're going to learn so much, and they're going to have a lot of fun.
Like in just 2 years, like you mentioned, the Mission Pro opened in 2020. In just 2 years, in a very short period of time, not even really a full 2 years, you are now going to be part of a show that's got Bloodsport 8. It's got Joey Janela Spring Break, Big Gay Brunch, a lot of like Black Label Pro, like these really big established names. And you're now right there among them. Like that must be like a huge sense of pride for you.
It is a huge sense of pride for the whole entire team. This vision wouldn't ever be in fruition if I didn't have a strong team that believes in what I believe. Gorilla Press, he's been a friend of mine. He's now one of our business partners. He's been the one who's pushing it, because honestly, I didn't want to do it because it's a lot of work. And we're like, man, I got all this stuff to do, man. And he's like, no, let's do it. But it's like I said, it's a huge platform for us, again, to show that the women need a seat on the table all the time. No matter what people say, we have worked so hard to have a seat on this table. And now at the Collective, we have that. And I want to thank all the sponsors, all the women, all my team for making this happen. I've been such a pain in the butt because I'm getting I'm like, seriously, like, I'm like, we got to take it to the next level. And I'm obsessed with it. Like, I have a videographer that comes every show now. We are doing a lot more stuff with our social media, so it looks cleaner. I'm like watching the shows, and I literally cringing and taking notes. God, this is better. I'm going to take it. It takes a lot. And a lot of the stuff we're learning as we're going. So it's going to be growing pains, but we are going to do what I promised them to do. We're going to be a premier independent promotion that really trains people if they want to go to WWE, if they want to go to AEW, if they want to go to Impact, for production, for writing, for everything. Like, we are really encouraging all the women that work as wrestlers and also in production to learn as much as possible. So I'm looking for the resources to really train them properly. So when is the time there's an opening somewhere, they can be ready and be like, hey, this is what I've done, and they can show what they have done for work.
You recently told the San Antonio Express News, you were talking to them about your relationship with Tony Khan and like the work that you're doing with Mission Pro and what that also means for AEW. Like, what is that? What is those conversations like between you and Tony Khan?
I mean, they have been pretty brief, but he sees what I'm trying to accomplish. He sees my business mind. He sees me as someone that has a vision that is bigger than some people can think. And like I told you, like a lot of people told me that I wasn't gonna be able to make it, that we were gonna fail so many times, and and he sees a passion that I have for female professional wrestling. When I get in the ring, when I get with new talent, and like the whole entire time that I work on Dark and work with like a lot of new talent, like I am not a good egocentrical person. I'm not. It's all about me. It's all about making this better and making it that they have a good experience, right? So and he knows how much this means to me and how much I've been working on, because I've been working on running shows for 6 years now, almost since I started wrestling, right? And you see, when you have, and because I would consider myself an artist too. When you have an artist super passionate about something and you take it away, you make the person miserable. You make their soul miserable. And I think he knows that Mission Pro Wrestling is like what fulfills me as an artist, what fulfills me as a professional wrestler, and also helps me pass along all the knowledge, little or as a lot as it is, to the girls that work with me, because it's just gonna enrich them. And then when they come and work in TV, they know what they're doing and they're not like in the dark.
You mentioned how like some people told you were never going to make it when you first started into this, and you've been wrestling now for coming on for 8 years or so. I think it's sort of around that sort of period of time, and like you have had an incredible journey to this point. Like I was watching when Zicky Dice announced his show, the Outlandish Paradise thing, and you were booked on that against Taya Valkyrie, and that was the match I was getting most messages about, because I was sending people like, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch Ziggy. So I was like, you have got to watch the Thunder Rosa match with Taya Valkyrie stuff. And we get it when we do our reviews of Dynamite, or we do anything like the match you had with Athena at Warrior Wrestling. You have become this name that whenever I am covering shows where I'm talking about wrestling, you always seem to come up into conversations. I think it's actually fair to say you have become one of the biggest names in the independent scene. So, like, how has that 8-year journey been for you up until this point?
Um, I don't know. Just I still see myself as Thunder from the block. I, I guess it's like I always see everything in perspective. I feel like, because I've seen it all the time, is like, who's the like flavor of the year, right? And I guess like in the next 2020, 2021, and now 2022, Thunder Rosa has been the flavor of the 3 years. But it's not. I always say I don't want to be the flavor of the year. I want to be the flavor of the decade. I want to be the flavor of history in professional wrestling, female professional wrestling. I want to be that person that all the girls be like, oh my god, I can't wait to have a match with Thunder Rosa, because they know they're gonna be uplifted. That we're gonna have a match that I'm gonna push them to their limit. And I think with all the work that I've done in the last 8 years, I have earned the respect of a lot of my opponents and a lot of the people in the business, and that's what it is. I have earned it. I have earned my place on this very niche business.
I mean, we were saying just before we came on, like I was looking through your cage match results, like recently, and I was just going through and I was scrolling down the page, and I was like, wow, she's had a lot of matches over the last year, and I was like, oh no, I'm only in December. Like I was just like the last few months, you've had loads of matches. Just like you did an interview with Denise Salcedo, part of the WrestleTalk family, and you was talking about there. I was like, when do you find time to sleep and rest and also run a business?
Well, depending on the week. So if it's like a week, I get 4 hours of sleep maximum. So it's rough. And then when we're traveling, depends on what time is my flight. I may get 2, I may get 1, some sleep on the plane. Then I come home like a zombie, gotta take care of Drago. My son is like asking for attention. My husband is asking for attention. I gotta take care of all the, because I run my Patreon, I have a YouTube, I do my own personal stuff. So it's constant. But again, I have like I see what The Rock does, right? And I use him a lot as an example when people are like, I asked one of my friends, it's like, how was The Rock when he was like signed? Did he care of what other people say? He's like, no, he just went and did his business. And like, look at him now. So it's like, I'm really trying to like have those visors right now and like be laser focused, because what I want to do in my personal life and in business, I have to be laser focused. I have to not worry about what other people say, or like if I don't get enough sleep, I will get sleep at some point, and I have been able to do that. And I'm like finding the balance now, because I have to take care of my body, because my body's my moneymaker right now. But um, this is just the growing pains, and I have this motivational app that I see like quotes of the day, and I see like all the nights, all the sleepless nights, all the early mornings are gonna pay off one day. Stay true to yourself, stay working. So I'm like, okay. So I keep sharing that on social media, because that's where I am right now. I am obsessed with becoming one of the most successful Mexican-born female wrestlers in the history of professional wrestling. And my friends, every friend that knows me, everything I say that I'm gonna do, I have done it, and I will do it. Like I'm super obsessed with that.
I mean, you're set to possibly make history next week with your match against Britt Baker in San Antonio inside a steel cage at St. Patrick's Day Slam. How are you feeling going into that match, coming off the back of Revolution?
Um, I it was hard. I mean, defeat is definitely hard. Like just coming back from that, right? I tried my hardest. I fought my hardest. I did some stuff that I never done before, because again, I wanted to capture that title. Like I've been on the chase for over 2 years, and it started with with when Cheetah was champion, and now with Britt Baker. Um, I I had to like step away on Monday after the show and go to the beach, because there's a lot of stuff that I was very thankful for, but there's a lot of stuff that I was like, okay, I need to work harder on this. I need to work harder on that. And when the news were given to me on Wednesday that there was gonna be a cage match, I was like, okay, game is on. Then I started thinking, uh, one, the Freeman Coliseum was the first time I had my first ever MMA match. So I know how it feels to be on a cage in that same place. Two, I know how it feels to lose in my hometown in that place. So at this point, I have nothing else to do that but to win. There's nothing else in my mind. I have to capture what it belongs to me, what I have worked so hard for the last 7 years, for the thing that people told me that I will never accomplish. And for that thing that people told me that I don't have what it takes, because I'm a carny, because I'm not a star, because I'm too worried about little things. It's like I said, I am not afraid of anything at this point. I've been there. I felt when they closed that cage in 2019, November 2019, they closed the cage. I never felt so close to God, because there was two things that could happen. Either I won, or I lost really, really bad, and almost and died trying. But none of those two happened. It was my decision. So I'm not. There's no judges here. It's a definitive win. So I'm really happy. I think I have the upper hand on this one. And all the people here in San Antonio, they're super excited. Which reminds me, I just went to the gas station and I got the newspaper, and I swear I almost started crying, because you don't understand what it means. I live here in San Antonio for over 4 years, and I volunteer and I've worked in my community. I've done a lot of stuff with the Salvation Army, and to have like a paper like this, you know, going for the glory,
Yeah,
it's huge. It's huge.
it's incredible.
So this was my breakfast. I do some eating earlier.
Yeah. I mean, that also means now we are 1 year away, or 1 year past the lights out match that you had with Britt Baker. It was a match that you won, but the thing I'm most curious about is like, what are your memories of like the day leading up to that match?
Again, it was hard. It was really hard, because doubt starts like just trickling in, and like your mind start playing games with you, start telling you that you're not good enough, that you're not gonna make it. At the moment in my career, I was in a very particular thing with with NWA, with AEW. I didn't know where this was gonna go. I was afraid of being hurt, like severely hurt, because this is something that I never did a freaking hardcore match in my life. So I had to like turn it into a notch a little bit more. And again, it was just like we had a lot in stake, because there's not something like this has never been done before in mainstream, not in professional wrestling. There's been a lot of like dead matches before, women that did dead matches and did crazy stuff, but never in professional in mainstream. So it was really huge. So I was feeling a certain type of way. But again, I had those that always are in my ear, and then cheer me up. It was my husband, of course, and Dusty Rhodes. Dustin was right there. He like kissed me on the forehead, and he's like, "Melissa, you're destined for greatness. You cannot be questioning yourself on what's going to happen today. You're about to change. You guys are about to change stuff for the rest of the history of history of history." And I was like, okay. So when I got in there,
no pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. But I mean, there's a lot more stuff that I can really talk about, that I will probably talk about in my book in like 10 years from now. Because there is a lot of stuff that there was layers of things. There was just one layer. There was another layer of other stuff, right? And where you're like feeling that things are being unjust and unfair, but you have to keep going, because that's how it is. That's how the cards that were dealt for me, they were there, and there's nothing I can do about it. So I'm really happy with what we did, and with the results. I know that I am going. Britt Baker is gonna be with me for my whole entire career, because this was a pivotal moment for both of our careers. We like it or not, but I'm okay with that, because I know that was just one, and there's a lot more of things coming up for me for my career, and I'm really excited about this. And then this Wednesday, with the first cage match in the women's division, there's another opportunity that I can show what I'm all about, and I'm very, very excited.
That's so cool. I mean, I've got one more question I wanted to ask you before we dive into our viewer questions. And it just kind of jumps in from what you were talking about with Mission Pro. And one of the criticisms that has come against AEW, that's come from us, and that's come from our viewers as well, is sort of about women's wrestling within All Elite Wrestling. As about, I think Revolution's past, and it had 3 matches on the card for women, and that was sort of like a first time there's been that case. I was curious to know what like your take on that is. Do you think like what is your thoughts on AEW's women's division as a whole, and their sort of how they promote women's wrestling, particularly with your history that you've got with Mission Pro?
I mean, it's gonna take time for some of the stuff to develop. Rome wasn't built in one day. We're still a new promotion. And this Sunday, I was just like you. I was like, "Whoa, we had 3 women matches, which was super awesome. 2 championship matches, and then the buy-in. I mean, little by little, it's like, step by step. I know that people are very critical about what we're doing. They're very critical of us, just in general. Like the stuff that they call us, the stuff that they say about us or about performance. It's like I said in Warriors of Wrestling after I had that match with Tina, I dare anyone that has absolutely no experience being a professional wrestler, getting in the ring and trying to attempt a 5-minute match. 3 minutes, 3-minute match.
Honestly, like I have taken 5 chops in my life in a row from Rampage Brown, and I was like, well, that's enough for me. There's no way in hell I could get in there and do this for real.
There is a lot more than just the lights and like the entrances. There's a lot more that comes in here and physically. I just read Sting's article that came out yesterday.
Yeah.
It talks about all the sacrifices and all the bullcrap sandwiches that he had to eat, and I didn't even know that. And it's just like it just resonated with me. Who will be willing to sacrifice everything for a dream like that? I mean, that's what I said. It's a lot easier for people to come online and criticize and talk all this stuff about us. but it's really hard for people to put the work in. And I can tell you, a lot of the women in the AEW women's division has put the work in, and they continue to do it. I mean, I will say it. She loves to talk shit on Twitter, but Jade has been putting so much work in, week after week after week after week. And I always tell her that I'm proud of her as a peer. I mean, I would love to get the TBS title, right? But as a champion and as someone that is not necessarily, she doesn't come from a wrestling background just like me. She's trying her best. Red Velvet, Layla Hirsch, all of those girls, they're working really, really hard on everything, and we are trying our best to do our best when the time comes, and the little time or all the time that they give us, we're trying our best to do our very best because it's the only thing we can do.
Well, let's get into some of our viewer questions. We've got you for like another 20 minutes, so we'll get through as many of these as we possibly can. Apologies if we do not get to all of your questions. But Fran Chile starts saying, I moved to the US in 03 from Chile, had a thick accent growing up, getting bullied at school was normal, and it didn't help that shows like WWE showed Latinos as stereotypes. AEW doesn't get enough credit for how they show their Latino talent. Gracias, Thunder Rosa.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, Tayanara and I will always talk about this because Tay's accent is really thick, but she always is cutting promos. They don't have anybody else. She's always trying a lot. Sheeta was doing that too when she before she dropped the title, right? Or she lost the title. I'm sorry. So a lot of us they let us be ourselves, and they let us be proud of where we come from. So that's really cool. And yes, we should get more prompts for that.
Charles Berg says, welcome to WrestleTalk. We're happy that you could join us here. We always talk about how incredible you are, but I need to know a couple of things. Do you own any dogs, and what are your 3 favorite sandwiches? Thanks for coming by.
So I own a dog. He's a pointer mix. His name is Drago. He's a Brad. I love him. Everybody loves him at the house. He's a foster. Where's a foster? Sorry. Yeah, we adopted him 4 years ago, and I love that dog. And what was the second part of that question?
What was your favorite sandwiches?
Oh my God.
I should really ask you what your favorite taco is, really.
That's like so weird. There was Ike's sandwiches. They were in Oakland. They had one. What was it? I don't remember, but it was really, really good. But it's from Ike's place.
Nick Corvello says, thank you to Thunder Rosa for all your hard work and talent. I've been a fan for a long time. I mostly just want to say how awesome it is and how positive a force you've been in the AEW locker room for the women's division and how fast you've made friends. The clip in the behind the scenes of the Lights Out match video where everyone was congratulating you, Hikaru Shida was hugging you excited, was amazing. The most adorable thing I've seen in that video, and I personally hope that a faction of you, Shida and Chris Statlander, as that's my dream team. Speaking of Shida, when the heck are you going to bring her in for Taco Tuesday's vlog?
Great question. I asked her before. She's been busy. She's been back and forth from Japan, but the next couple months we have to have her on the taco vlog. I invited her. She was not available, but hopefully soon.
Thunder Rosa says, can't wait for you to win, and your reign begins with a beautiful new title. Hope you can represent it back in Japan. Who from around the world would you like to face the most? From your Aussie via Tokyo friend Rari La Mera Mera. I was gonna open with calling you La Mera Mera, but I was afraid I was gonna butcher the pronunciation of it, so I didn't try.
Oh, that was perfect. He just texted me actually. He's like, can we talk before your interview? And I was like, I'm like at the doctor's right now. But I would love to go back to Tokyo Joshi. They've been inviting me a lot. But my schedule, as you know, my schedule has been pretty crazy. So we'll see. We'll see.
Matt Carney says, out of these 4 options, would you say you're a heel, a face with some heel tendencies, and an out-and-out face, a heel with some face tendencies? I feel you are a face or a heel. You're an honorable person, but by God, you are violent.
I think right now in my career, I'm a super drooper baby face. I'm very fiery. That's one thing I have. Like once I fire, I'm about to whip somebody's ass. But I am super baby face. Even in my promos, I can't. When I'm heel, and I cut promos, I get nasty. But now it's like, yeah, I'm super baby face.
Dan says, I did not know that my favorite women's wrestler was on the show today. It's so awesome to have you on. What is your favorite part of wrestling? Thank you for your passion. Thank you for all that you do.
No, thank you guys.
So what is your favorite part of wrestling?
My what?
Your favorite part of wrestling?
Oh my God, what is it? I think eating tacos in different cities. No, I'm just kidding. That's one. That's one.
That
I'm a foodie. So every city we go to, you guys seen Shane and I were always like punking each other on my YouTube channel. So him and I, we always go to different restaurants because we love seafood. So we're always like stuffing our faces with like different stuff. So I love seeing like the local cuisine and just meeting people. I have the most wonderful circle of friends that I ever had in my life, and it's all in professional wrestling. Again, I can mention to you like Holiday is one of my very close friends. Baby D, she's from Dallas. She's one of my very very close friends. My editor, who's become like my brother, he lives in Monterrey, Mexico. Um, now Shane, the driver, boss, Mr. Boss, like it's just so awesome, like just feeling the warmth that they bring to my life, into my family too. So it's pretty cool.
we were talking with your business associate just before we came on air, Gorilla Press, and we were like the conversation that you two were having, and sort of like the love and admiration that you have for each other is it was it's so lovely to see, and it was really nice. And he was saying that you're just a very very genuine and lovely person to be around, and I've got that impression as well from this sort of the half hour chat that we've managed to have together. So yeah, I'm glad that you've got this nice circle of friends around you as well within the world of wrestling. Rain Tech is actually saying here that I love your vlogs and I really need to check out Mission Pro as soon as possible. Good luck on Wednesday. Me and a lot of people will be rooting for you. I suppose actually, just to jump off from that, just going back to Mission Pro, where would you like to see Mission Pro go? Like, sort of like just not by the end of this year, but sort of like and beyond.
So we have a lot of things that we are working on. Again, we want to take it on the road on and do like really cool shows, maybe in the East Coast. A lot of people we ask for the East Coast, the West Coast. There might be a possibility. At the end of the day, I would like to have like actually produce a TV show or a YouTube show or Netflix. I think it will be really really cool if somebody can pick it up. But again, it's we still have a long road to go, and we have to put a lot of effort, work, and everything to make it better. Um, but I think it will be really really cool, and just give like really really put that and show what a real all run women's show can do, because I don't think this has ever been done before. I mean, like I said, you have other shows that promote women, but they're run by men, and I work in them, and I was just like, I'm not gonna say anything, but as you can see my face and my reaction, that says it all. We need real change, right? And we have an opportunity, and knock on wood, there's no wood in this car, but that change happened, and we can do something bigger, even if it's for one season. I don't care. At least we say we did it.
Harold says, my daughter is 6 years old. She's a huge fan of yours. Her name is Catherine. Could you please give her a quick shout out? She would lose her mind.
Catherine, do your homework, clean your room, don't be a jerk to your parents. I love you. Hugs to you.
Dan is back in again to say, coming out of WXW 16 Carats weekend in Europe, I feel like there's a lot of talent, but there's still a big gap between young women and men. Where can they turn to improve?
Where can they turn to improve? That's a great question. I think you have to get out of your comfort zone. So if you're in Germany, if you have an opportunity to travel and train somewhere else where other people, I tell you, like this place is really good and is really legit, I think you should give it a try. I think for me, in a personal level, that's what helped me to get better faster. I couldn't find what I needed in Northern California. I went to Southern California to train lucha and to train American style wrestling. Then when that didn't work, I went to the East Coast and trained a couple weeks with such and such. And then I went to Mexico. Then I trained in Japan. And then I went back, I went to London. I trained over there. So it's like you have to make sacrifices, and you have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to get out of your bubble. Because if you don't, you're going to be wrestling in the same place and the same company forever. Yes, you're going to be the champion. Everybody's going to love you there. But then you are kind of like tying yourself to like a little tiny world. The world is huge, and professional wrestling can help you make it bigger. And for me, like, I always wanted to travel. That was my biggest dream as a young girl. Biggest dream, because we didn't have a lot and we never went anywhere in any vacations. So I always dreamed to travel. And now with professional wrestling, I travel every single week to a different state. And I was like crossing all the states that I've been. And I only have like 10 states that I haven't been. So it's like, wow, like this is pretty cool. So I don't know, just find your research and take a leap of faith.
Brett says here, what would you like to see from AEW's women's division? What would you like to see it go next? He also makes the point as well, which I think is something that I'm sort of guilty of here, is that we tend to sort of like focus on some of the negative aspects of AEW's women's division, or sort of the treatment of women, but we never focus on the positive side of things either. You mentioned here that the match you had with Britt Baker was probably one of the best matches that company had all year. The Rampage Street fight was also incredible. But the question you had was like, what would you like to see? What would you like to see next from the women's division?
Wow. Well, I mean, just being me being like a crazy person that I am, I would love to see an Iron Woman match. It's never been done in AEW. Some of the matches that are like more challenging. I know Serena Deeb she already had 3 matches with Cheetah, like long storylines that have like big blow-offs. I think that would be great. And they're totally feasible. I don't know. I would like to develop more storylines on Dark that lead into Dynamite. So people are like, they have to watch Dark and they have to watch Elevation to see what's gonna happen in Dynamite, right? So I think that could be it. I don't know. I mean, there's so much. I mean, Tony's definitely working on a lot of storylines, and he's bringing it together. It's not one only. There's like 4 going on right now, which is good. Yeah, everybody wants more. You know, I get it takes time. So, but I will definitely, I can tell you, I will definitely, I want a 30-minute match, an Iron Woman match. I think it would be really dope. And other stipulation matches that they haven't been done, and that are, you know, big blow-offs for whatever we're working on. And also, the positive things that are happening, like we have the group Heels. I don't know if you heard of it. We have a lot of female fans that come and meet us, and it's such a great community of people that I don't think that's done before. That we, you know, appreciate our female fans, that they come and we do a lot of stuff that are catering to women, and because we need more female fans, like I was telling you with Mission Pro, that feel comfortable coming to a show and they don't feel like, ugh, like all these weird guys are gonna be, you know, hollering at me. Like they can come, and they come in groups from different parts of the country and the world, and they just feel like they belong, and they feel care for the company.
Yeah, Angela, who is part of our WrestleTalk and No Rolls Barred family, she speaks very highly of Heels. Yeah, she's really enjoyed the work that you guys have done. Aiden here says, I live in San Antonio. And unfortunately, I always work when you run Mission Pro shows, but I will not miss next Wednesday. You're my favorite wrestler. I can't wait for your big moment on TV. La meta meta. Well, that's Aiden. Well, you've got to try and take some time off work then, my friends, so you can make sure you can get those Mission Pro shows.
Yeah, we have one coming up pretty soon too. After Bangers Only, we have like 2 weeks after, we have a show here in San Antonio too. In South San Antonio, we're raising money to get equipment for a new after-school program for the Salvation Army. And again, we're just trying to give back to the community. And what best way to give back to our youth, which are like, who's going to build the next generation of maybe professional wrestlers? I don't know.
Will says, I was at the New York show back in September when you wrestled on Elevation. It was awesome to watch you work. What was it like to wrestle in front of that many people who popped so loudly for you?
Man, it depends on the day. Like, I remember there was the one in Austin when I came out with my Selena gear, and the fans were like super crazy. I was just like, the pictures, I'm just like so happy. I'm like, oh my God. Then when I wrestled too at the US Open, that one, I was the opening match. Oh my God, dude, that was like nerve-wracking, but it was so awesome because I felt the energy. And then walking with, like, you know, the Mexican flag was there. It's just like the adrenaline is like, I was telling somebody, I'm trying to chase the dragon and just trying to see if I can get the same feeling that I got. And that night, it was so special. I was on crack on that night. It was so great. it's super crazy. It's super, super insane. Like, it's just, you feel like every single cell of your body feels with the energy, everybody's energy, and you can feel how loud they're like cheering for you, and you can't even think. It's just like you're in that moment. So I love it. I personally love it.
Zoe says, do you have any special ring gear planned for next week?
Of course I do. Come on, guys. I have so much gear. Of course I do. I can't tell you what it is, but of course I do. Of course. I mean, I'm in my city. I'm gonna be representing the Latino community. And you gotta wait. You gotta wait. It's gonna be super cool. Very San Antonian, I can tell you that.
And lastly here, Danny says, outside of AEW, who would you like to defend the title against when you win it? Do you have a dream match or someone who's waiting to blow up and is flying under the radar that you'd like to step in the ring with?
So I always had a dream match, and Ed said it this before. She's not signed. It was a trainer in WWE, Sarah Stock.
Yes.
If you're talking about inspiration, she was one of my inspirations when I became a wrestler. And I used to Facebook her, like, oh, I love your wrestling. So I know she's just started wrestling again. I just saw a poster, so I will freaking love to have a match with her. She is so good.
I would love that. Yeah.
Yes.
It'd be just great to see her wrestle again, actually. I have missed watching her wrestle.
Yeah, she's really good, and she's very underrated, So that's my dream match. There you go. And I'd like to defend the title with her, if possible. And then what was the other part of the question?
That was it. Just like, yeah. Like, what are you most looking forward to? Like, when you win the title? Because I think we're all pretty confident you're gonna be winning that title next week. I've got no doubts in my mind.
No, that's what Sunday. I was sure I was gonna win that thing. Didn't happen.
No, you're absolutely right. But I think with that crowd behind you, I think you've got all the will in the world to get it done this week. But when you do win that title, like, what do you want to do with it once you've got it?
I would love to be a fighting champion. I mean, I'm like addicted to wrestling. I need it in my veins, brother. I would love to defend the title in Mexico, one way or another. I think it'll be so dope just to bring in my own country where I haven't wrestled in years, and now bring in and just like, there you go, guys. Japan for sure. Europe, like if I could defend it anywhere in the world, I would. I said this in another thing. I love what Kenny was doing when he was a champion. I mean, he was a belt collector. I mean, if I could be a belt collector, cool. But if I can go and defend the title in different places and like bring a different flavor of wrestling to this, and just like, I don't know. I miss that. I miss being able to go to different parts of the country, another country, the world, before COVID, because that's what enriched my wrestling abilities, and I think that will enrich my wrestling abilities. And I also encourage my friends and my peers at AEW to like do the same, right? When you have a leader that is always very encouraging, that is always like ready for the challenge and is challenging everybody in a positive way, everybody's ready to work. And I think that's what's gonna bring. That's when I become a champion. That's what I am going to bring to the women's division. Encouragement.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna push every single person that is in the ring with me to the very best, because it's the only thing.
Thunder Rosa, it has been awesome having you here on the WrestleTalk Podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. Thank you as well to Gorilla Press for setting this up. It's been an absolute pleasure and an honor. Please tell people where they can find you, where they can find Mission Pro. Tell us all about Bangers Only. The floor is yours.
So Bangers Only, tickets are available on missionprowrestling.net. You guys can watch that show live at 3 p.m. on April 2nd on Fight TV. If we're not on Fight TV, we're on TitleMatchNetwork.com. Also, ThunderRosa.net. That's where you can find my pictures and all my merchandise. Patreon, I'm on Patreon too. ThunderRosa/Patreon, and YouTube. You can subscribe and everything. But if you want to see more stuff and more very personal stuff, you have to subscribe to Patreon, because that's where I put a lot of cool stuff that you guys don't see anywhere else. And you can also watch me on Dark Elevation or Dynamite or Rampage on TBS TNT and YouTube. So there's no excuse why not to watch me, because I'm in very different places. So
I was going to say, I think you can show up at probably any wrestling show in the country and you'll probably be booked on the card.
Well, I'm gonna be taking a break a little bit. Like I told you, I'm just gotta chill a little bit. So you can only watch me on Mission Pro or AEW. So you have to order it or come in person because it's a different experience.
Again, thank you so much for taking the time. It's been an absolute honor and a pleasure speaking with you. Best of luck to you next Wednesday. Good luck with Bangers Only as well. I'm really looking forward to watching. I'll be watching it on Fight TV. So thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you all so much for checking us out today as well. Please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Leave us a little thumbs up on this video and go check out all of Thunder Rosa's hard work. We'll see you over the weekend and we'll see you next week. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.